Bill Stepien is the campaign manager for President Trump. And I just want to share with you some of the tweets that he's put together in his thread here, because Eric Trump, understandably, didn't want to share with us whatever their internal polling data is showing, which I totally understand. But Stepien, I just got this moments ago, has put it out. So he says there's been a lot of bluster from pollsters and pundits about what we should expect tomorrow. President Trump has the momentum in this race and the math available to him to win on Election Day. President Trump is ahead of where he was in 2016 by a very key measure. And now the reason this is good, this will give you an idea of how the professionals, the people whose job it is to win this election, they look at things differently than you and I. We're consumers, and we look for signs based on information available to us that makes us feel good. We're looking for anything that will make us feel confident. These people have to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. Then they have to put it all together, and they have to come up with some kind of analysis so that if they find themselves losing, they got to figure out what to do to reverse that. So whereas we can hunt and peck and look for stuff to make us feel good, they can't do that. So Stepien says that the president is ahead of himself where he was 2016 by a very key measure. That measure is the measure that actually matters: votes cast and votes remaining to be cast. Now, you've been seeing reports of Democrats being nervous. Well, they should be. Let's start in Ohio. Joe Biden's wasting a few hours today in Ohio. Weeks ago, the partisan makeup of the electorate was Democrat plus 10. Today, it's Democrats plus 0.6. That's in the polling data. They have reduced the Democrat margin in Ohio by practically 10 points. Going into Election Day in 2016, the gap was Democrats plus 2.5. President Trump has a projected Election Day votes cast margin of over 400,000 net votes. President Trump rallied in North Carolina this morning. He was at Fayetteville. Democrats jumped out to a Democrat plus 32 advantage during A-B only voting. Today, it's Democrats plus 5.8. So once again, the Democrats are fading, plus 32 to plus 5.8. Going into Election Day 2016, the gap was Democrats plus 9.7. So you can see that it's much better now than it was even 4 years ago when the president won. President Trump has a projected Election Day votes cast margin of over 400,000 net votes. President Trump and Biden are then heading to Pennsylvania. The Democrats have banked a ton of high-propensity voters in Pennsylvania. We have millions of voters left. President Trump's Election Day margin needs to be significant, and we project an Election Day votes cast margin of over 1 million for President Trump. So they're expecting big numbers out of Pennsylvania. But for those numbers to materialize, you got to make them happen. You in Pennsylvania, you everywhere, you've got to show up and vote. All of this is academic if there's no action behind it. And I'm going to tell you again, the effort to get you to stay home tomorrow is going to be massive, and it's going to be intense. They are going to try to scare you like you haven't been scared about COVID, about getting caught up in violence, civil disobedience, unrest, every conceivable thing that might befall you, they're going to tell you might have. They're going to do whatever they can, folks, including show you pictures of unrest, pictures of people that have been injured, people that have been, who knows when the pictures would have been taken, but they're going to pull out all the stops to make sure you don't show up. But Rush, what don't they have to show up? No, folks, that's the point. In their world, this election is all about making sure you don't show up. It's all about making sure Trump voters don't show up. That's the margin of victory. That's what Stepien's talking about here. What about Florida? Democrats jumped to a plus 18.8 advantage during A-B only voting. Today, it's Democrats plus 1. Going into Election Day 2016, the gap was Democrats plus 1.4. So all of the trend lines are in the direction of President Trump. And there is no reason to hide these numbers. There's no reason to not let you know what they are. Here's some more numbers from Michigan. This is Robert Cahaley. This is the Trafalgar Group. And this is from November 1st. The Michigan poll, Trafalgar shows a consistent Trump lead. He's at 48.3, Biden at 45.8. That's Michigan. In Ohio, it is Trump 49.2, Biden 44.4. This also is the Trafalgar Group, and this polling period October 30th through the 31st. Trump grabs lead in Pennsylvania, according to the Center for American Greatness's Insider Advantage poll. So it all looks in the trend in the positive direction. Don't forget the Iowa poll, the Des Moines Register poll, which shows Biden fading from where he was